Hello, welcome back. Welcome back. Well, let's do some mental activation. Okay, we took went half an hour. Let's see if any of that knowledge from our circle of knowledge has flown into our circle of forgetfulness. Okay, and yeah, do a little bit of mental activation. Keep our mind fresh. So, who would like to remind us of the lesson that we've learned in this, this immediate past session? Okay, anything new? Any impression that you've made that you feel that you can apply? Any new realization? Since we only have a few people, I think we should give a chance to everybody to, say something, do some mental activation. In the past, I did not push for the mental activation practice, and therefore people did not retain a lot of information. Okay, so this time I'm gonna push for the mental activation so we can actually retain, and so that the knowledge that we gain would stay with us and we can benefit from it. You guys look well rested. Vince, you don't look like you have, I think you rested. You look like you rest pretty well. I don't know how much you slept, but you're pretty well rested.
I hope so.
Yeah, you look well rested, and and I think Ron looks happier with the breakfast. I know I feel better with breakfast as well. I chatted with my wife for a few minutes. I ate for about 20 minutes or so. And then I had the time to actually lie down and did some real deep, resting. Okay, real deep rest. I did some 3 breaths and I give myself a good 7-minute rest. So let's jump back in. Who would like to, we'll just go in order of whoever that's in the Zoom. Since Vince is already on the screen, would you care to just throw something out? What did you find that is new to you? What do you find applicable?
Yeah, I try to learn, to receive the message, and we can stop seeing, we can stop hearing. We just simply receive it and welcomely receive it, and that's it. Make it simple, yeah. Make it simple. That all I observed.
Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, anybody else?
Well, a lot of it for me, I've gone over, so I know some of it. I don't know everything, of course, but a lot about our human nature, how we are able to pick our own desires, what we want in our outcome of life, and how to apply it, learning how to apply that. So yeah, that to me is a big thing. Learning how to apply your outcome, what choices you make in life and what you want in life, what you want to hear and what you don't want to hear. That's your choice. And how to eliminate the negativity by those choices.
Yeah, it's kind of freeing, huh?
Yes.
We have that choice to be able to choose what we hear, what we see, to choose whether we want to charge with an emotion or not charge it with emotion. And if we are to charge it with an emotion, we can choose to charge with a positive emotion of honoring gratitude. If we are to charge with a mental charge, then we can charge it with magnanimity. And if not, stay in the space of serenity. Okay, true emptiness. Okay, wonderful little lesson from Jesus Christ and the Buddhists who connect us. And those are the two powerful perspectives. Okay, Morgan, are you on there? Would you like to say something? Is Jihua on? Would you like to share some of your learning, your impression before we move on to the next module?
Yeah, mine is similar with the group. And then all of a sudden, it started, 6 months ago to now, to realize that because it's really hard to not analyzing and judging people, especially for my character. And I stopped to not judging people when they send a message to me, whatever is good or bad. And then because my mind is non-stop judging and thinking, and then I start to praying, because I'm coming from not a religion person, but little by little I study and then finding about the faith, any religion, it doesn't matter for me, is expected for any religion. All of them has a praying. Praying is an attitude, is a positive thing. And then is affected on me, is work for me, my personality. I'm not talking about everybody should do it, but it working for me this way. I find this way, to go to the positive thing, and then the message that you send, you explain it, is not affected to my emotional or think about analyzing why they told me this message, or kind of a stupid or something. And then when I start every day, I make a routine and discipline to myself to praying, and then praying to myself and everybody else. And then I realize that when people send me the input message, it's not going to emotionally affect me that much that I had it before. And I kind of like it because I see the changing in me, but I need to learn more.
Good. So you see your own transformation. Okay.
Yeah.
And since you mentioned prayer, most people pray. Most people pray. Let me see if I can expand our awareness and perception about prayer a little bit. Do you ever notice that sometimes we pray and we pray and we pray for a long time and we don't get our prayers answered? Or it takes a long time for the answer or what we want to come to us. And not only for ourselves, but we look for other people. Even very religious people can pray for a very long time and they don't seem to get what they want out of the prayer. Or it takes them for a very long time to get what they want. Do you guys notice that? You notice people praying for a very long time and not getting receiving the prayer, or it takes a long time to get it? Have you noticed that? Why we pray but don't get it, we don't get it right away.
Yeah, I know this one, but I didn't pay attention to my concept when I praying, to not asking something to give it to me. I'm just praying to a kind of meditation to make me calm.
Okay.
And then understand, not being abused or hurt. This is my subject of to praying, not because I believe if you need something from the world, such as money, house, something, you can make a plan and set a goal and work hard and achieve those. You cannot sit and ask God, God, give me a case of money, or give me the lottery ticket to be win and rich. I'm never asking, I'm not praying like this to get some material, because I know logically for any material things, if you need, you have to work on it. You cannot sit and pray and God give it to you immediately. But emotion, what the soul is mean, not the material thing. If something is bother you and you cannot, for example, seriously, emotionally is bothering you, you cannot get rid of that thing and non-stop is in your mind, the best way, you praying to that emptiness that you mentioned in the meditation, is coming to you, and then focusing on the will that you mentioned. Just listen, don't absorb it, just listen, and then don't emotional, just listen, don't analyze anything is happening around you, something like that. But you're right. I hear that many people said, oh, I'm praying for months and then I didn't get anything, or somebody just start to speaking, I want this one, and immediately something is appeared. Yeah, I hear about that, but it's not happening to me. Both of sides.
Well, I think you are very fortunate, Morgan. Okay, you have a very mature understanding of prayer. Okay, you have a
I
very
hope so.
mature understanding of prayer, because a lot of people, their understanding of prayer is incomplete. Many people pray asking for, some very logical things like good health, peace, right? Happy relationship, to pass an exam, get a job. Those are all perfectly fine, because God already promised that if you ask, you shall receive. If you knock, doors will be open to you. That is a promise on prayer. Right? Whatever you ask, you shall receive. Whenever you knock, doors will be open to you. Not only that, God says, I am the Alpha and the Omega. God is the beginning and the end. God is outside of time. Basically, God knows us even before we know ourselves. God knows the future and the past. God knows what we want even before we ask for it. Okay, so God knows what we want. Number one, we put that together. Take a little bit of wisdom and thinking. Number one, God knows what we want even before we ask. Number two, God promises that what we ask, what we're going to get. So it's a guarantee that we're going to get. Yet why do people not get? Why do people not receive? It is simply because there is two parts of prayer. There's a causality of prayer as well. Okay, it's beautiful. The natural law of causality operates everything, including prayer. There's a seed and the fruit. The seed of prayer is simply the asking. Please give me peace. Please give me health. Please give me whatever it is. That is the asking, the seed. But at some point, that seed will sprout into a tree and it will bear fruit. And then you have to come and you harvest the fruit, right? With humanity is that we are focused on the asking and we actually don't focus on the receiving. We're too focusing on the asking and we don't focus enough on the receiving. God could have given us the answer to our prayer long ago, but because we don't focus on the receiving part, the answer to our prayer just slipped right by. It's kind of like buying stuff on Amazon. We know what we want. We get on Amazon, we place an order. It goes up to the server. Right? Our prayer goes up to God. God knows it, and God sends the package to us in the terms of peace, in the terms of happiness and health and whatever. Just like the Amazon sent a delivery guy to our door, the delivery guy has to knock on our door and give us our package. But instead of opening the door, we sit on a computer and we say, where's my order? Where's my order? Let's check my order. Oh, no order. Let's submit another order. Let's keep on asking. We think that the act of asking is going to get us the receiving. No, God already knows what we need. And so we get stuck in the we get stuck in this outer part. We thinking and we talking and we are asking and asking and asking. And in the meantime, God is giving and giving and giving, and we're not getting it because we're not listening and we're not receiving. When a person have a health issue and they ask God to give them great health, and all they know is, let's say they go to a Western doctor and the doctor give them medication or surgery, and that's fine. But if that doesn't work, they keep on asking God, and somebody, let's say, offer them an Eastern holistic method of healing, energy meditation, for example, acupuncture, for example, some holistic health practice, and they say, nope, that's not for me. I'm only interested in Western medicine. And that is the equivalent of God sending the gift to us, the deliverer knocking at the door, and we don't open the door to receive the package. God gives us the answer to our prayer, but we refuse to accept it because we are stuck in our, which one is it? That would be judgment. We are obstinate in our human nature of judgment. We are attached to our own views and our perspective and the way we want things to be done. And we are skeptical, we are doubtful of other people's opinions and ideas. We desire, but we close up our desire for the true health and happiness that we have been asking for. Instead, we are stuck on the desire for, let's say, medicine. We want a miracle drug when the miracle is, let's say, meditation. We want medication, but God gives us meditation, but we refuse the meditation. We just prefer medication. And that's why we don't get healthy. Okay. So it is the second component of prayer that is the receiving part. And the benefit of this practice is that when we can arrive at that space of emptiness and we are open to receiving, then we will more simply hear God's voice, not in a physical sense, but it's simply a knowing, a recognition that when we meet a person, for instance, each of that person could be, a message from God, an answer to our prayer, and they are the person delivering whatever it is that we want, but only if we are open to receiving. It is the Zen Buddhist that's giving us the Christian, or the Islamic or the Muslim prayer, but only if we are open. Okay, so that's a little bit of a perspective. Hopefully that'll shift a person's awareness about praying. Don't focus so much on the asking. God already knows what we want. Focus on the receiving. Focus on the receiving, and we will receive what we want in a much, much simpler and quicker way. Okay? And since we have some very mature people in this Zoom, let's call your attention to, I need more paper. This is sort of get a little complete on the human nature. We're still on human nature, but I want to call your attention to the idea of proactive and let's use the word responsibility. Proactive responsibility. As we begin to study the human nature, we understand how human nature works. Positive, negative polarity, desire, imagination. As we begin to understand how the human nature, we know that we can be proactive about our nature. We can be proactive about our desire. We can take responsibilities for our feelings and emotion, for thought, our thinking, right? And to be proactive and responsible is essentially a state of being the owner or ownership. Okay. To own something is simply to be proactive and responsible for that thing. A business owner is a person who takes proactive responsibility for everything that goes on in a business. Right? The bottom line, the owner is gonna have to, either pay or not. The owner is a person who has to take care of all of his people, his talent asset, all the finances, all the legals and all the laws, all the inner workings, all the management, okay? That is what it means to be an owner, to take ownership. So if we take ownership of our inner being, we essentially understand that we have this true nature, true nature. We understand that we have the human nature. Okay. And to clarify that a little bit more, the human nature is made up of the mind and the emotion. Our two natures is just our two selves. So if we can proactively take responsibility for our mind and our emotion, we can choose positive thought, we choose positive emotion, then by the law of causality, we will arrive at an outcome that is positive. Okay. When it comes to praying, we can choose to limit the asking and pay attention to the receiving. You can literally take ownership of your praying and thereby take ownership of the outcome of your prayer. But we have to be proactive, proactively listen, be responsible for the kind of thing we ask for. Okay, so that's just kind of a lead in to the next part on the human nature or the human construct. Okay, so the human construct, we have three blocks of spiritual and intellectual energy that both the Christian religion as well as the Buddhist religion will teach, but they say it in different ways. In the Christian teaching, there's the law of the golden rule, right? It's not said golden rule in the Bible, but it said that that which you sow, so shall you reap. It is a statement on the law of causality, right? that which we sow, the seed, so shall we reap the fruit, the seed and the fruit. It also says that at Judgment Day, everything is accounted for. Not even a single hair on our head will escape our judgment. That too is a statement on causality. Okay. During the time of Jesus Christ, and during the time of Jesus Christ and his disciple, they live in the Jewish, culture, and the Jewish culture had a certain understanding about sins as opposed as relationship to their physical well-being. A person who is sick is often thought by Jewish people to be a sinful person. So when a bunch of sick people come to Jesus and ask Jesus to heal them, Jesus would say, "You are forgiven." Jesus didn't say, "You are healed." He said, "You are forgiven." And people would, some people would be offended. Okay, why does he have the power to forgive? But never mind that. What important is that in the Jewish tradition, there is an understanding that your physical ailment or your physical health is related to your good or evil. Is related to whether you have committed sins or whether you are a good person. Same thing in the Buddhist and the Hindu tradition. In the Buddhist and the Hindu tradition, a person who experienced a lot of good fortune, it is because they have the energy of good fortune within them. That they have a lot of positive, spiritual, ethical energy within them that attract good fortune into their lives. A person who experiences a lot of bad fortune, on the other hand, is a person who has a lot of negative energy, negative ethical energy within them, and therefore they attract bad fortune. And so both religion understand from a human construct level is that as a human being, beside from our mind and our emotion and our body, we have this ethical, spiritual energy that will attract good fortune or attract bad fortune. And where does those energy come from? It comes from our interaction with other people. It comes from the good that we do to other people. So in this sense, we can think of it as accounts. We have 3 different accounts. As human being, we have a good fortune account that contain all the seed of the good deed that we have done. Okay, so every time we do a good deed for another person, we help them, we make them feel happy, we make them go positive. Okay, when we help a person go positive on their scale of human nature, we make them happy in general, right? We make them happy and positive. When we help a person become positive, then we also, by law of causality, deposit a seed into our good fortune account, like a credit system, a bank system account. Okay, but in the spiritual sense, whenever we cause another person to be positive, we help them, they become happy or something like that, then we deposit a seed in our good fortune account. And after a while, if you do a lot of good for the people, when you help a lot of people, you make a lot of people go positive, we also accumulate a lot of positivity in our good fortune account. And we have a lot of positive in our good fortune account, we can expend it very easily, very simply. We can receive positivity into our life. Good things come to us. The golden rule: do unto others what you would have done unto yourself. So if you do a lot of good things for other people, a lot of good deed, then good deed is going to come back to you. On the other hand, a person who has a lot of bad fortune in life, they experience a lot of undesirable circumstances, poor health, relationship issues. Then in the Buddhist sense, they say that that person had committed a lot of negativity in their lives. They have accumulated a lot of bad seed in their bad fortune account. And when a person's bad fortune account is overflowing with bad seed, yeah, some of them is going to sprout and they're going to start attracting a lot of negativity in life. Poor health, physical, mental, broken relationship, bad finances. Right? So, law of causality. And then there is, with the Buddhist perspective, there is the idea of merit, which is another type of spiritual account that has to do with your wisdom and understanding. If a person engage in the kind of activities that cause other people to expand their awareness, elevate their wisdom, then they are going to start to deposit a lot of energy, a lot of into their good merit account, spiritual, intellectual merit, okay? Intellectual merit. And when you have a lot of intellectual merit, you will more simply understand concept like the truth within, emptiness of being, because these are very high energy in frequency. It takes a high energy of spiritual merit, ethical, intellectual merit in order to understand it and grasp it. A person who has a lot of merit in their intellectual account will more simply attain a state of enlightenment. Okay? This part of the human construct, there is the ignorance part. So instead of being ignorant, which is delusion, people who have a lot of negativity in their ignorance scale, people who cause a lot of people to be delusional, they will attract, they will decrease their the intellectual account, and then they too will become deluded over time. But a person who can help other people expand their awareness, raise their wisdom, attain enlightenment, will increase their account in the merit, the spiritual, intellectual merit account, and they will experience clarity leading to enlightenment, complete realization about everything and everything, total awakening, which is the word for the Buddha. Okay. Yeah, that is another part of the human construct, and we will refer to that energy, time and time again, in order to help us explain why some people seem to be more fortunate than others. Last night there was a question on fate. Why does fate? Why does some people seem to have bad things happen to them, even if they don't seem to do anything bad? Well, the only way to explain that is to allow for the possibility of a life that is longer than this life. Okay, there's a possibility of a life that is longer than this life inside this body. This body is, 80 to 100-year-old in terms of physical lifespan, but there is a life inside this body that extends beyond the physical limitation of the physical body. There's an understanding in both religion that after this body disintegrates, goes back to the earth, something lives on. Something on an energetic level. Christians call it the soul. most Christians believe in this continuation of the soul beyond this lifetime in the future, but they neglect that the soul also exists the other way in the past as well. Why do some children get born with congenital defect? They are born and immediately they are diseased. Some children are born in a war zone, in a abusive family. They haven't done anything. It's not their fault. They haven't done anything. They're innocent. Yet we already learned from the formula for the root cause of life is that the root cause of life begins with me. Yeah. Every consequence, every outcome that we experience today come about as a result of some seed that we have planted. And the only way to allow for that interpretation is to allow for the possibility that the soul existed not only into the future, but also in the past, which means the possibility of multiple lifetimes. There's a possibility that in the past, we may have lived another lifetime and we may have committed a bunch of bad deed, that now we are reaping the fruit of that bad deed. And so children who have committed bad deed in the past are reaping the fruit of it in a form of congenital inherited diseases. They are born in family who are broken because they themselves have broken something in their past. The Jewish community had this understanding, even during the time of Jesus. There are different sects in the Bible we talk about, like the Sadducees and then the Pharisees. The Pharisees believe in life after death. The Sadducees believe in only, that's it, this lifetime. But even in the consciousness of the Jewish tradition, which give rise to the Christian tradition today, there is an understanding that the soul existed before this lifetime, and that the only way to explain why disease come into this world is because we have committed some disease in the past. Christianity, we call it the original sin. It is said that the sin was passed down from our ancestor, but it's us. Okay, it's us who have lived those paths. We are our ancestors. So that gives the explanation for why good fortune and bad fortune take place in the world, why there is evil in the world. There, why, you know, evil is nothing more than human being performing evil deeds. Right? In the Bible, it says human beings were created in the image of God. We are almost perfect. We were happy in the Garden of Eden. It is only when we took up the fruit of knowledge of good and evil, which is an allegory to say that we started being, you know, good or bad. It is only then that we start to suffer. That is only then that sin comes into the world. That is why there is evil in the world. It is nothing more than our choices. We simply choose to act on cruelty or instead of benevolence. It is the human nature that decides why there is evil in the world. It is also human nature that decides why there is goodness in the world. And now that we are people of ownership, okay, we can choose to be benevolent instead of cruel. We can choose to be altruistic in our desire instead of selfish in our desire. Okay. Any question about
I have a question. Go
Yeah.
back to the past life.
Mhm.
If you're believing in the past life, that you mentioned, you know, kids is coming with the disease or something. If you believe that the past life, how many times the human being is coming to the world?
Who knows? Could be tens of thousands of lifetimes. How long have human beings been alive in this planet? We don't know. But who knows? It could be many times. And many people reportedly, very few people can reportedly remember their past lives. In the Buddhist tradition, there is the concept of a veil of ignorance. Somehow, when we are born into this world, we don't remember because there's this veil of ignorance. And it's simple to understand because in order to remember anything, that is a mental, that is a brain activity. When we are first born, when we are first conceived, sperm and egg, there's no brain just yet. It's tiny little spark of energy. And so it's not possible to, compress. It's not like like a memory card that you bring from one computer to another. When our body disintegrate, there's no body anymore. In order to remember, in order to see, to hear, to know and speak, it needs a brain. And but after that, whatever remained must have been very, very small, that could not retain any actual memory. But it retained a charge. It retained, a sort of a orientation toward good or bad. It retained some spiritual or intellectual energy. And when that goes into, it gets formed into a physical body, that charge will influence, one cell will influence the next cell, one molecule will influence the next molecule. And that negativity, if the person has a lot of negativity, then that energy will give rise to a body that has a lot of negativity within it. Not only that, in the human, not in the root cause formula, okay, we said the root cause of life begins with me. The outcome in life is a result of all the choices that we've made. And the choices that we've made is compatible with who we are. Sometimes we like it, sometimes we don't like it, but we simply choose it that way because there is no other choice, and we simply pick the choice that is most compatible with us. Then we can say from this, combining the root cause of life formula and the human concept, is that we actually choose our parent simply because we are compatible with them. So if we are the kind of person who carries a negative energy, then when we are born, we're going to be born into the kind of parent that carry negative energy. But let's move on, because I will make that more clear in the next section. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Now, good question, and that is a perfect lead into the next session. Okay, so let's draw some pictures. Let's see. Draw a rectangle. Okay, we're going to use the sort of the scientific perspective. In the middle is a ball, okay, an object, a physical material object. Okay, this is a physical material object. Okay. You know what? Let's do a different color. Let's do a different color. I think I like a different color. Let's do this one. Let's make an object a different color. So we still have this black rectangle. Okay. And let's use green to make it stand out a little bit. With this object. Okay. This is an object, a physical material object. Okay. We call that the Z object. That's what an object is, something that is observable. Around that object, Okay, around that object, just pretend that there is only one object to be observed. And so around that object is empty space. Okay. Empty space. Okay, there's an observed object around that empty space. Now remember, in the root cause formula, the interaction on the object, right, the pen. In order for the object to be an object, in order for this pen to be a pen, what we need is an observer. So this is an observed object. And then let's draw a sort of an eyeball. Okay, an eyeball, eyelashes. Okay, and the eye is observing the object. So this is called the observer. Yeah, perfect. The observer. All right, in the scientific perspective, in order for an object to be an object, there has to be an observer. Otherwise, it's nothing. Okay. Outside of it is empty space. So by definition of an observed object, it is a physical object in space, then it would be something that we can see. Okay. To observe it is to be able to see it. We can maybe sense it. And in our philosophy, we're going to expand that a little bit to not only to see, to sense, but to become aware of. Okay, aware of. So in order for an object or anything to sort of exist or to be observable, we have to see it, we have to sense it, or simply become aware of it. Even if we cannot see it, even if we cannot sense it or measure it, at least we are aware of it, then it can be said to be observed. And it requires an observer to observe an object. Otherwise, if there is no observer to observe an object, then it is equivalent to empty space. Okay. So what we have here is two entities, so to speak. One is a physical matter. Okay, physical matter are the stuff that we can observe. Our body we can observe, you know, we can see, we can sense, we can measure it. If this is a ball, we can even weigh it. Physical matter, physical matter. And then there is the other stuff, which is empty space. Okay, physical matter exists in empty space. Okay, that's pretty basic. Now, interestingly enough, okay. Let's do another one. So we're talking about physical matter. Every object that is in space, every physical matter exists at its most fundamental level as a fundamental particle. Right? This is science, right? You've heard about this in high school and college physics. Our body, when we divide our body into tiny little organs, into tiny little cells, to divide the cells into tiny little molecules, the molecule divided into atoms. Those atoms are broken down into quarks, and those quarks are essentially fundamental particles that make up our physical and material world. Okay, those are the physical matter in our universe. When scientists observe the physical matters of the universe, they notice that they actually never stand still. They are always moving. Okay, they're always moving. Or another way of saying, they are vibrating. Even if they don't move from one place to another, they are vibrating. They are oscillating. They are vibrating. The particles themselves are vibrating. And that particle vibrate at different frequency, right? Some of them vibrate very fast, some of them vibrate very slow. And scientists can measure the vibration by what they call the vibrational energy frequency. Okay. The scientist has already demonstrated that all particles, when they move, they exhibit a wave-like pattern, which is energy. And the particle, they move at different frequency. There's a whole wide range of vibrational energy frequency. It is measured in hertz. Hertz is how many cycles per second, how many times something vibrates. 1 hertz is 1 cycle per second. Okay. Our computer, the CPU in our computer can vibrate or oscillate the semiconductor in them can oscillate at 3 gigahertz. That is 3 billion times per second. Our computer, this little laptop, it can oscillate 3 billion times per second, and it can do 3 billion computation per second. Very fast. Okay, so to simplify things, okay, in this philosophy, we like to simplify things. We're just gonna divide it into 3 simple categories. We simply call low vibrational energy. We simply call high, and we're gonna call it ultra high or super high vibrational energy frequency. Okay. And so to illustrate this on a physical way that we can see and sense, okay, let's take a look at my hand. Okay. If my hand is moving slowly, you can see it. All right, my hand moving slowly, you can see it. If my hand start to move faster, you start to it gets blurry. All right, it gets blurry. And if my hand would move really, really fast, you can imagine that my hand moves so fast that you cannot even see it at all. Right? It's just physical matter. But if the physical matter vibrate so fast, then the eye cannot catch onto it, and we cannot even see it. And so this particle, which is my hand, or any particle in the universe, if it's slow, then we can see it. Okay? If it's fast, then we see it, but it's a bit of a blur. You can see it clearly if it's slow, right? If it's fast, it's blurry. And if it's ultra fast, it is visible because it exists as a form of wave instead of a particle. Okay. Can we see sound wave? We can't see sound wave. Can we see radio wave? We can't see radio wave because they're really fast. Okay. Now here's the thing about the observer, the observed object, and the empty space and the vibrational energy frequency. Just because something is moving really fast and we cannot see it, does it mean they don't exist? No, they exist. They exist, we just can't see it. We cannot see it because they're too fast for us. Their vibrational energy frequency is beyond the vibrational energy frequency of our own eyes. Okay, that's an important distinction. That is an important distinction to make, and I want you to make sure you get it. Okay, if we see something, we see it because we are a vibrational energy frequency match for it. Your hand, my hand, and your eyes is a vibrational energy frequency match. Therefore, you can observe my hand. The observer can see the observed object because the observer is a frequency, is a vibrational energy frequency match for the observed object. If this object was to vibrate at a different frequency that is way, way beyond the frequency of the observer, then we will not see it. We will not sense it. All right? Kind of like Wi-Fi. We cannot see Wi-Fi, but Wi-Fi exists. We cannot see air, but air exists. We have to use different ways of measuring it or sensing it beyond our eyes. Think of radio wave, radio frequency, right? When you listen to a radio channel, there's a number. Like if you look into Coast, K-O-S-T, the frequency is 103.5 kilohertz, I think. If we tune the radio to match exactly 103.5 kilohertz FM frequency modulation, then we can catch the content of KOST, Coast. We can get the music, we can get the news. We are a vibrational energy frequency match for that channel. If we tune the radio a little off, we can hear static. We might still get some content, but we also get some noise, and it becomes kind of blurry because the frequency is off. Tune the radio to it. If we're completely off, I mean, if we are in a different frequency, that we are no longer a match for 103.5, then essentially we get nothing. We don't get the content from 103.5. We may get the content from another station. We may have tuned our radio to 1007.2 or something like that. KISS, K-I-S-S. Different station. Totally different content. So on a physical material world, right, when we see something, it is because of, first of all, there's an observer, there has to be a person, and number two, that observer is a vibrational energy frequency match for the observed object, just like the radio. If we want to get the content from the radio station, we have to be a vibrational energy frequency match, or at least our radio has to be a vibrational energy frequency match in order to catch the content. But if we're off by little, then it's blurry, it's not very clear. We're off by a lot, then we get nothing. Empty space. Do you get this concept so far? This is basic science, okay? And then we connect that to human life and experience. So that's where the important comes in. Okay, this is just a scientific illustration, and we're going to apply the scientific perspective to the human construct, to what it means to be a human being. Okay, and it looks like this. So as a human being, we experience our world. Okay, we experience the cosmos. We experience our experience of the cosmos. It's called the cosmological perspective. Okay, so we're just going to use the word cosmos. Our experience of the cosmos. We experience the world. We experience the worldly, the physical world, and we experience human life and experience human life. It's just a simple way of understanding the world around us. There's a cosmos or the cosmological perspective that include everything, really big, including the soul, including multiple lifetime, all of that stuff, reincarnation. Those are the cosmic stuff, cosmological stuff. It is an explaining of where everything is. Different religions have different ways of explaining the cosmology. Okay, let's use the cosmological instead of cosmos. Cosmological. Okay, the cosmological perspective. And then there's a worldly perspective, right? Which is kind of stuff that we learn in school. The science, the physics, the engineer, they deal with the worldly stuff. And then there is a human life and experience, which is what we are focusing on. It turns out that using the same analogy of vibrational energy frequency, our experience of the world is also determined by our vibrational energy frequency. We're not in space. Just gonna shorten it. Frequency. Vibrational energy frequency. Okay. If our if our vibrational energy frequency is low, okay, we can have our vibrational energy frequency to be high, or we can have it ultra high. And how low or how high our vibrational energy frequency will determine our let me think. It will determine the state of inner being. Okay, and our state of inner being could be negative if our vibrational energy frequency is low. It will correspond to a state of inner being that is negative. If our vibrational energy frequency is high, it will correspond to a state of inner being that is positive. And if our vibrational energy frequency is ultra high, it corresponds to a state of being that is balanced. Okay. Remember, in the human construct, the inner being, when it is highly balanced, it is like light wave. Very high frequency waves, but does not oscillate very high or very low. It does not go positive and negative. If anything, the positive and negative is very little because the energy frequency vibration is so fast, so high. Our state of inner being is determined by our state of inner awareness. Okay, it is our inner awareness that will determine our state of being. When it comes to our state of being, it's related to our body, our emotion, our mind. Okay, so we're just going to say body. When our state of inner being, our mind and our emotions are positive, well, guess what? Our body is going to experience positivity. When we are balanced and positive inside, our body will also vibrate at a high and ultra high energy vibration, which correspond to positivity, good health, happiness. Good health and happiness is corresponding to balance and positive energy. On the other hand, if our inner state is negative, we're depressed, we're anxious, we're resentful, those are negative emotions, negative thoughts, that's going to cause the body to go negative. And when the body is in the negative state, it is a disease state. We're unhappy, we're gonna get sick. Okay? Low energy associated with illnesses, high energy associated with health. Yes. Any question? Okay. Now, our inner state of awareness determine our state of inner being, our state of being. Our inner state of awareness is directly related to the energy of good fortune and merit, energy of merit. Right? Earlier on, when we talked about the golden rule, do unto others what you would have done unto yourself. When we perform good deed for other people, we deposit a seed in our good fortune account, and we would experience positivity in life. It also helps us with our inner state of awareness. Some people are born not only with healthy body, but healthy mind. Their state of being, their state of awareness is positive. Other people are born generally being pessimistic, prone to anger, prone to depression. And that has to do with the kind of energy of good fortune and merit that we have accumulated in past lifetime. You notice that senior citizen, older people, notice that older people are generally, we expect older people to be more at peace. We expect them to have greater wisdom, greater clarity. We expect their inner awareness to be of higher energy vibration. But only if they have allowed themselves to accumulate positive energy of good fortune and positive merit by helping other people throughout their lifetime, performing good deed and raising other people's awareness. Okay. So that is a discussion on how the vibrational energy frequency that we carry as an individual, as a person within our inner being, it will attract positive circumstances or it will attract negative circumstances in our life. And since we have already established that to take ownership of your inner being, to take ownership of your true self, take ownership of your true nature, as well as your human nature, take ownership of your inner being, your mind, your emotion, is the path of a owner, a responsible and mature person. Then we can begin to understand that in order to attract the positivity into our lives, not only can we attract positivity for our body and our inner state of being, but we can raise our awareness as well. If our awareness is positive, we're going to attract positivity into our life. We're combining a scientific perspective along with the perspective of the religion. Okay. So let's take a quick look. That is our awareness of space and time. That is, this is called the principle. There's a name of this principle. Let's use principle. This is the operating principle of the conscious mind. The conscious mind, our inner awareness. If our inner awareness is balanced and positive, then our state of being, which is our emotion and our mind, will also be positive and balanced, and thereby our body will also be positive and balanced and of high and ultra high vibrational energy frequency. The operating word here is the vibrational energy frequency. Okay, so all we got to do is make sure that we have a vibrational energy frequency that is high and ultra high. And we already give that to you. The energy of serenity, that is an ultra high, ultra balanced energy state. The energy of magnanimity, very high balance, very positive. The energy of honoring gratitude, very high energy frequency state, very positive. And so if you go through the day and just cycle through those three energy, being at peace, being magnanimous with people, being grateful for everyone and everything, then pretty soon our being is going to be positive, our body is going to be healthy, and we're going to experience positive, happy circumstances in life. Across the human life and experience perspective, as well as the worldly and our cosmological perspective as well. Okay. Question and impression so far. Question and impression so far. Before we move on to our awareness on and perspective in time. Okay, this is space. We're talking about space, right? Empty space and object. But let's talk about the thing that we may not touch or see, but we can feel, right? Happiness. And happiness is not a physical object, but happiness is something that we can become aware of. Okay? If we are a person who can experience happiness, then by this definition, then we are a vibrational energy frequency match for the vibrational energy frequency of happiness. That is why we can experience happiness. For a person that does not experience happiness, does it mean that happiness does not exist? For a person that does not experience happiness, doesn't mean that happiness does not exist. Happiness exists. But they don't experience it because they are simply not a vibrational energy frequency match for happiness. Did you get that? Just like this pen. We are not there to observe it. The dog is not there to observe it, but it exists. It only becomes real to us when we were there to observe it, and we are a vibrational energy frequency match for it. So a person who is not happy doesn't necessarily mean that happiness is impossible. It simply means that you are not a vibrational energy frequency match for happiness. So all you gotta do is get yourself to be in a vibrational match with happiness. What about good health? A person who experiences good health is a person who is a vibrational energy frequency match for good health. Right? Yesterday, we defined good health in terms of the physical, the mental, and the social well-being. And all of those are associated with high and ultra high energy frequency. So if you're not in good health, that doesn't mean that good health is impossible or doesn't exist. All we gotta do is get ourselves to a vibrational energy frequency match for good health. And we do that with this formula right here. If they want the body to be in good health, which is high and ultra high frequency, then our inner being has to be positive and balanced. And one way to do that is to increase the energy of good fortune and merit. Help other people become healthy, and thereby you will deposit a seed in your good fortune account with respect to health. Raise other people's awareness and wisdom with respect to health, and thereby deposit a seed in the good merit account, and so we will more readily experience good health by way of this formula. What about material wealth? A person who is materially wealthy is simply a vibrational energy frequency match for material wealth. It does not mean, and a person who is poor is simply not a vibrational match. It doesn't necessarily mean that wealth doesn't exist. It simply means that we are not a vibrational energy match for it yet. And so all we got to do is become a vibrational energy frequency match for material wealth. And how do we do that? Using the operating principle of the conscious mind, using the energy of good fortune and merit. That which we sow, so shall we reap. So if we want to be materially wealthy, guess what? Help other people become materially wealthy, and thereby depositing a seed in our good fortune and good merit account in terms of material wealth. And over time, the more you help other people become rich, the more your energy in that aspect of life will become full, and you'll be more readily able to attract material wealth into your life. And one way that we taught how to do that is through the 7 holistic wealth. Inner awareness begins with wisdom. Expand our awareness, that'll raise our wisdom. The next candle in our holistic life is attitude. Attitude of serenity, attitude of magnanimity, attitude of honoring gratitude. All positive, all highly balanced energy state. Energy, vibrational energy state. And as we have good wisdom and we have great attitude, we start to manifest ourselves as a person of wholesome character. The character of authenticity, the character of humbleness, of joy, of hope, of trust, all inner state. Emotional, positive emotion state, positive mental state. And when our emotion and our mind is positive and our body will become healthy. And when we become healthy, we can acquire new ability how to make money, ability how to do business, how to invest, and then money will flow into our life. That is the formula for to become materially wealthy. And yesterday we said that a person who is holistically rich, it's impossible to become materially poor if you're holistically rich. And the operating principle of the conscious mind, using the understanding of energy of good wisdom and merit, helps us generate those positivity within our being so that we can attract physical material wealth into our life. Does that make sense? What do you guys think about that one? That may be a little new for some people. It may, if it falls into your circle of I don't know, that's fine too. Okay, now that becomes part of your knowing. You didn't know before. If we go over it again, and maybe the third or the fourth time, it'll go into your circle of I know that I know. Somebody was going to say something. Lesson and impression on this part. So no longer it's about fate. Okay, no longer it's about predestination. It is simply a matter of vibrational energy frequency. Whether we are a match for health and happiness or not is a matter of our vibrational energy frequency match for health and happiness. And we already know how to become a vibrational energy frequency match using the operating principle of the conscious mind. Later, we're talking about the operating principle of the subconscious mind. Okay. So since we're on material, rich, let's say a few things about money. Just a few things about money, not too much. And how we can use the operating principle of the conscious mind with respect to money. Why am I starting to lose all my pens? Okay. There we go. All the pens are in here. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about money. Okay. Using the operating principle of the conscious mind, what do we use money for? Money falls into the resource part of the human nature. Remember, we have the need for resources, the need for appearance, the need for identity, the need to consume, and the need to rest and sleep. What do we use money for? Is it not to buy some kind of quality of life, right? Do we not use money to buy a house, a car, all of that in order to improve our quality of life, right? And the quality of life, to simplify it, is nothing more than our health, okay? Our inner being, which is our mind and our emotion. And then our relationship. Do we not use money to buy things or eat things or wear things and try things that improve our health? Do we not use money to improve our inner being, make us happy? We go to the movie, we go on vacation, we play certain game, whatever it is, to make our inner being go positive. Do we not use money to improve our relationship, either to attract a mate or to maintain a family relationship? So money is basically used to improve our quality of life. Okay? But if all we do is use money to improve our quality of life, eventually that money is going to go away. We have to somehow replenish it. Right? We have to somehow replenish it. And the way we replenish it is to create value. We create values for other people. We go to work. We own a business. We invest in money into providing some services or products. If we're not an owner of a business, then we are a part of the business that provides some values of life to other people. And by the law of the golden rule, that which you sow, so shall you reap. If we sow the seed of value by creating some values in terms of product or service for other people, we receive in return. It goes back to us in the form of money. Similar with the quality of life. We use money to improve our health, our inner being, and our relationship. And when our quality of life is improved, we use that to make more money. And so money is nothing more than an intermediate. It is an engine of value creation. It is an engine of the quality of life. And it operates on the operating principle of the conscious mind. When we create value for other people, we cause them to go positive. We deposit a seed of positivity in a good energy, good fortune account. And that will attract positivity in terms of finance. And then we use that money to improve our quality of life. It is an engine of value creation, if we understand it that way. Otherwise, if we think money is just something that we need to work hard and accumulate over time, if all we think about is ourselves, then our desire for ourselves, that is negative, being selfish, negative energy. Guess what? With negative energy, our inner state is negative. It's right here. Negative state energy. Pretty soon, our body is going to experience low energy as well. We get sick. Stress, hypertension, heart disease. All right. The person who works thinking of themselves through time will become selfish and their body will decline. But a person who contribute value to other people will go positive, and they can maintain good health for a very long time. It is all because of their state of inner being is positive, and at the same time, the state of awareness, now that we have a new awareness about money, it is an engine of value creation. It is not just something to satisfy our own quality of life. It is the value of life that we create for other people. Now you have a greater awareness, you have positive awareness about money, then money can be a wonderful engine of value creation as well as the quality of life. Our health will go up. Our happiness will go up. Okay? That's how it works. See how it works? Kind of cool, huh? Kind of cool. Yeah. Yeah. And so with this, there comes the idea. Hang on, let me. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about time. Talk a little about time. So this discussion on vibrational energy frequency, I can understand it can be a little new to a lot of people. What are your impressions about it, guys? What do you feel when I say that you are a vibrational energy frequency match for happiness? Or if you are a vibrational energy frequency match for illness? Can I get some impression?
For illness, you'd be at a low frequency.
Yeah.
Happiness, you'd be at a high frequency.
Yeah. And yesterday, this is a scientific approach to it. Yesterday, we also used the scientific approach when we talked about the root cause formula. Right? In the root cause formula, we all agree that the root cause of life begins with me, and that my choice bring about the outcome in life, and those choices are a compatibility with who I am. Now with this understanding, right, so yesterday, there's this part right here. The choices are compatible. Compatibility. Our choices are compatible. When I asked a participant 3 times, chocolate or vanilla, chocolate or vanilla, chocolate or vanilla, and 3 times he chose chocolate. He could have chose vanilla, but he chose chocolate, 3 out of 3. Because at that moment, you know, he liked it. He liked chocolate. It is also can be said that he is a vibrational energy frequency match with chocolate ice cream. So in this context, you can say that at that moment of choosing, we are a vibrational match or an energy match for the choice. And therefore, we don't really need to blame ourselves for anything. Right? We don't need to blame ourselves because we are simply a match for it. Okay? And now with a deeper understanding of low energy, high energy, ultra high frequency, it opens more choices, better choices. Whereas before we knew what we know now, it seemed almost kind of like fate. It seemed almost as if there is no choice. We are a vibrational match for it, and therefore we chose it. And that's fine. We don't need to blame ourselves for it. But it also feels like we didn't really make a choice. We are a vibrational match for chocolate, so we just chose chocolate. So there's really no choice. One way to help us not blame ourselves is to realize that we didn't really have a choice. We are simply a vibrational energy frequency match for it. So we can take responsibility for it, but we don't have to blame ourselves for it because we didn't really have a choice in the first place. That is without having meditation, without having this knowledge. But now that our awareness and perception have expanded to include choices that are related to whole high, low, high, or ultra high frequency, then we can make better choices, more optimal choices, choices that lead to high and ultra high state of being, positive and balanced state of being, as opposed to just random, right? Before we understand, we just random. Whatever choice that we made, it's just almost random. It seems almost random, okay? But now we can consciously take ownership of our choices and choose high and ultra high. We can choose balance positive. We can choose to help other people so that we can accumulate better energy of good fortune so that we can experience life better. Before we have this opening of new choices, it feels as almost it's fate. We just happen to be a vibrational match for it. We don't need to blame for ourselves for it because we didn't have a choice. But now we do. We're still a vibrational energy match for our choice, but we now have a choice to shift and change and improve our chances because we have a greater understanding, a deeper awareness about vibrational energy frequency. Do you guys get that? It opens up more possibility of choosing. We're still subjected to the law. We're still subjected to the principle. It is a principle of the operating conscious the mind. Ultimately, the choice that we make, whatever choice that we make now, is still subjected to this principle, this law of cause and effect. We cannot make a better choice than that which we are compatible with. Whatever choice we make at this moment, it's still compatible with who we are. So if we're still negative, we're making best effort, chances are that best effort is still probably going to be negative. And it's okay. But it opens new possibility that we can continue to cultivate. We cultivate, we practice, we help other people improve their energy, and thereby we earn positive energy. And through time, through practice, through repetition, every iteration of this practice, our energy level will improve, and then our choices will improve. And even then, we will have no choice because that is a vibrational match for who we are. You get it? Free will, yet still obeying the law of causality. Free will is not completely random. Okay, free will still obeys the law of causality. That's how God works. He gives us these laws, just like the law of gravity, right? We can choose to fight gravity, jump really hard, fly really high, but we still have to pay the price. But if we're clever, we're smart, we can learn to minimize the cost, right? People, engineers can build glider plane that costs no energy to glide. Big wings instead of big engine. Big engine, a lot of cost, a lot of fuel, a lot of consumption. We still fight gravity when we try to fly, but the engineer who built a glider with big wing just invested in the wing and don't have to spend too much energy flying, soaring the sky. Same thing with, that's the law of gravity. We understand the law of gravity. We're still subjected to it, but we understand it and we can take ownership of it and use it to our advantage. Understanding the law, use it to our advantage. We can soar in the sky very simply with ease, or we can build a big engine and invest a lot of energy and money into going straight up. Same thing with the operating principle of the conscious mind. Same thing with the law of causality. We understand it, we operate it, then we can experience life with ease, as opposed to having to pay a great price in terms of effort, time, energy, health. Okay? You get a sense of how it all fit in? Okay. Morgan and Vince,
Yes.
what are your impression in this topic of energy frequency? What I've just said, or what Ron just said.
My mind a little bit empty now. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I try to catch it. Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Okay.
Mhm.
And Frank, you know me because I'm working on the energy for such a long years. I'm totally on it,
But do you
and I
can
believe it.
you get a sense that you can start taking ownership, right, of your energy level, right? Can you start taking ownership of your own fate just by using the few principles and natural law that we have offered here? And you get the sense that we have begin to take back our own health, that we can determine our future from here just from these principles alone?
My answer is yes.
Okay. Okay. Good.
Nobody's complete, but no, I'm working on it. It's not gonna be this one is not gonna be a magic as long as you find out. It take years. It depends of the person. Some person, just figure out and it's gonna magic, happen, or I don't know, 1 week, which is not make sense to me. But you need to practice on that one and grow in this field. It's not gonna happen tomorrow when you find out.
In a few minutes, in a little bit later, still part of this module, I will explain why some people can get it overnight and some other people take longer.
Okay.
And the idea of nobody being perfect and we have to work really hard to become perfect, that will come at much, much later when we talk about integrity, the state of being
Okay.
whole, perfect, and complete. That we are created in the image of God. We are whole, perfect, and complete to begin with. Okay, we'll talk about that later. So it's not a long journey. Don't worry, it didn't have to take many, many years. The promise of this philosophy is at least 3 to 6 months for a typical person to experience transformation. Okay, to experience inner peace. A little longer than that, maybe 6 months to a year. If we stick with the program for about 3 years, then you will be a different person. Because from an energy standpoint, the human body replaces the cells every 98% of the cell every, I think, year or so. There's an amount of time. In 3 years, every cell of your body would actually be replaced by completely new cell. So as we study and we practice this philosophy, each day, doing using the principle of mental activation, our new cell take on new energy every time we encounter with this philosophy. Every time we practice inner peace, every time we practice magnanimity, every time we pay gratitude to people and things, the cells that are constantly being divided in our body, the new ones take on new energy frequency. And after 3 years, they are going to be replacing every old cell. And so all the new cell will essentially be a new body. A human body actually pretty much a new body every 3 years. If we do nothing, then our body is going to be the same energy frequency 3 years from now. But if we apply ourselves with this philosophy, we open our mind, we practice inner peace, then in 3 years, our body will vibrate at a high and ultra high energy frequency, and we will be a different body. We'll be a different person. Our inner being will be different. You can see that from people in this Zoom, right? Mr. Ron, Jihua, they see it in me, right? You see my transformation. And it wasn't very long. I started about a year a year and a half, 2 years ago. Okay, it is into my, I think, the second and the end of my second year. And then some people do take a little longer, and we'll explain a little about that in a bit. Okay, but first let's talk about time. We already talked about space, so let's talk about time.
But Frank, I see your transformation. I can see mine too.
There you go.
But do you want more, or you think this is enough?
That's a good question. It's both enough, and I want more.
Mhm.
I am, like the Bible said, created in the image of God, which is whole, perfect, and complete. And that is enough. At any moment in time, I can activate the energy of serenity and be at peace with who I am.
Mhm.
At the same time, I'm a human being. I have these human nature, 16 human nature. I have desire and imagination. I have a desire and imagination for more money. I have
True.
desire and imagination for a better body. I have a desire and imagination for swimming 10 kilometers in the ocean, running a marathon. I have desire and imagination about helping other people to pass on this knowledge. And so I will continue to cultivate and become more whole, more perfect, and more complete.
Yeah.
Do you get that?
Yeah.
On one point, we're already perfect. Don't worry about it. But we can always put that down for a moment and initiate a desire. And then in another moment, we can drop that down and initiate inner peace. Pick it up, let it go. Pick it up, let it go. Pick it up, let it go. When appropriate. Using wisdom. We haven't talked about wisdom yet, but that's what we're referring to. Okay? It is having wisdom, having awareness that enable us to know when to be at peace and when to initiate our desire and imagination and work toward whatever it is that we want. Create, right? Root cause of life begins with me. You create. You got nothing better to do, just be at peace. But if you want to do something, we're going to talk about doing the 7 great acts of giving. Doing acts of love. Okay. Let's talk about time. Time. Okay. Still on the idea of energy, vibrational energy frequency. So time. Let's use what pen do we do? Nice and black this time. Time. Okay. Time. Okay. Traditionally, historically, previously, when we think of time, what do we think about? Do we not think about the past, the present, and the future? Right, this is typical perspective, typical awareness that most of us have growing up. But now, with the idea of vibrational energy frequency, we understand the difference in terms of life experience with respect to low frequency, high frequency, ultra high frequency, etc. So in terms of the past, the present, and the future, the past is nothing more than an experience of time that has already gone by. The present is an experience of time that is still ongoing, and the future is an experience of time that has not yet to come. Okay? So past, present, and future is simply experienced in the past. Experiencing right now, and yet to experience. Okay? So past, present, and future is nothing more than time that have been experienced, time that is experiencing now, and time that is yet to experience. And they are also subjected to the law of vibrational energy frequency, especially with respect to the human experience. So when it comes to time, there is the sense of time, and there is the value that you get out of time. When it comes to the sense of time, if our vibrational energy frequency, I'm going to say VEF, is high, and then there is VEF low. If our vibrational energy frequency, ourself, our inner being, our body, our spiritual being, if our vibrational energy frequency is high, then the sense of time is fast. In other words, time flies when we're having fun. Right? When we're having fun, that is a state of being that is high in vibrational energy. Very positive. Time flies when we're having fun. On the other hand, when we are bored, when we got nothing better to do, we have a lot of time, yet time seems to be slow. When we're bored or sad, time seems to drag on. When we're standing in line and waiting, our inner being is a sense of what? Anxiety, stress. Time seems to be very slow. This is a human experience of time. When our energy, our state of being is high or ultra high, time seems to go by really fast. Time flies when you're having fun. A frog would say time's fun when you're having flies. Do you notice that in this sharing, we started at 2 p.m. yesterday? 2 p.m. yesterday. I don't know how many hours. It's been like, what, 16 hours or something? Okay. And you get the sense that time flies pretty fast because we have raised each other's vibrational energy frequency. We're at peace. Serenity is an ultra high vibrational energy frequency associated with our true selves. You're listening, so you're not really thinking much. You're not using the, not a lot of the human nature, even though there has some human nature involved. A lot of you is actually just doing the healing and the healing. You're actually staying within your true nature. You are experiencing inner peace, very high. And some of us is now experiencing positive emotion like hope. Maybe through this teaching, there is hope for me that I can become more healthy. I can be happier. those are positive energy frequency. And so the time that we spent in this Zoom after 16 hours seemed to have gone right by. I can barely remember taking that 4-hour break. I get the benefit more from this than you do. I'm very grateful for your presence because you're giving me more the benefit than I'm giving you. My sense of time flies just right by. On the other hand, when we're waiting for our first date to show up, anxiousness, anxiety, stress, or when we're bored, even though we have a lot of time in our hand, the day seems to drag by. Or we feel a lot of pressure from the boss. We wanted to go home. It's Friday night, we want to go home, but no, you don't get to go home. You gotta get the work done. Time seems to drag on because our vibrational energy frequency is low. Okay. Now, the value of time is a little bit different. It turns out that when our vibrational energy frequency is high, time seems to go by very fast. But the value that we get out of it is also high. In a short amount of time, we can actually get a lot of things done. We are very productive. The value we get out of it is really high. As if we had a lot more time. When we're excited, when we're hopeful, we get a lot of things done in such a small amount of time, even as if we had a much longer time to do it. Anybody experience that yourself? Those of you who are, work? When you're at work and you have a deadline and you're not worried about the stress, you're just worrying about, the value that you're contributing, and you're excited and you're totally focused. You get so many things done in such a small amount of time, as if you had a lot more time. But you get a lot of things done. The amount of value that we get out of it, the value that we create for other people is very, very high when our vibrational energy frequency is high. This is a difference between productive people and non-productive people and unproductive people. Productive people get the same amount of hours in a day. They show up to an 8-hour work, but the productive people get more things done. Why? Because their inner being is positive. They are optimistic. They are hopeful. They are grateful. They are generous with other people. They honor their time. They respect. They are grateful for being there. And because their energy is positive, they get a lot of things done. They are very productive. The value that they create out of it is very high. And usually those people will get high compensation later on, thereby that circle of value creation somewhere. Money. Okay. A person who has a high vibrational energy frequency create a lot of value for other people, and they're going to get a lot of value back. Their quality of life will go up when they have a high energy vibrational energy frequency. We have the same amount of time, 24 hours a day, but it seems that high value people create more value for other people. On the other hand, if your energy frequency is low, you don't really get anything done. You get no value out of that seemingly endless amount of time that people give you, and you create no value. When I was depressed, I would hide away in my room and I would sleep, and time would just kind of drag on by, and day after day, and I would get nothing done. But when I'm happy and energetic and energized, I get a lot of things done in a short amount of time. Okay. So with that, consider the following. Our sense of time, is dependent on our vibrational energy frequency. Consider the following picture. This is the curve of our aging, so to speak. Okay. When we are first, this part of our life is, this is birth. This is growth. This is our aging. Okay. When we are first born, we're like a baby, we're lying down. Okay. When we're first born, we're lying down. As we, this is low frequent energy. Okay. This is time. Okay. So this is the axis of time. This is energy. When we're first born, we actually don't have that much energy. We're like a baby, we're lying down. Newborns are lying down. As we grow, we start to stand up, okay? And we're like a little kid, we're growing up. More energy. As we grow even more, let's say we become a teenagers, we grow even more. We have more energy, we also create more value. And at some point, we sort of kind of reach the peak of our maturity. And then at some point, we sort of bend back down. Okay. Well, we bend back down. And then if we get really, really older, we really bend down. Okay. So our hand, and now we are holding a walker, a third leg. And finally, we lie down again for the last time. It is a process of growth and aging. As we grow, we get more energy, more energy, more energy. We create more value, and more value. And as we get older, at some point we, let's say, retire, we create less value. And at at some point we gain no value and we don't create values anymore. That is the traditional way of understanding aging. Okay. But if now that we understand that time and vibrational energy frequency determines the speed of time as well as the value of time, then we can start taking ownership of that. Instead of allowing this typical curve of growth, peak, aging, decline, we can shift this curve by making use of the operating principle of the conscious mind, by making use of the energy vibration. So instead of this curve, what we do we're still gonna have to be born. We're still gonna have to grow. And when we reach a peak, don't let the energy vibrational decline. Now that we understand time as a vibrational energy, when we get a lot of value, it is as if time slows down. We get the same 8 hours, but we get a lot of things done. It is as if time slows down for people who are experiencing high vibrational energy frequency. Okay? Science had already proven this. An object that is moving at super fast speed, its time slows down. Its value is very high. Its productive value is very high because it covers a lot of distance. Okay, from a scientific perspective, an object that is traveling at super high speed covers a lot of distance, get it? High value, cover a lot of distance, and its time actually slows down. The fastest object in the universe is a light particle. A particle traveling at the speed of light has a super high value. It can travel 30 million kilometers per second. And its time stops. The light particle does not experience the passage of time. A light particle does not get old. As if the light particle has an infinite amount of time to travel the universe. Same with an electron. And that is why the light particle can travel from one corner to another end of the universe and experience no loss of time. It can travel a great amount of distance, great value, create a value, experience a lot of value at no expense of time. A rock, for instance, on the other hand, is a low energy frequency, very physical, very material stuff, physical stuff, low energy frequency. Take a long time to travel across space, covers very small distance, and it would disintegrate before its time runs out, before the universe time runs out. Understanding this is a powerful tool for longevity. So instead of aging, which is the natural process before we understand anything, what we got to do is maintain high energy frequency within our being, right? High energy frequency being, we can create a lot of value for other people, and our time slows down. We live longer. Just ask the people who live past 100. What do they all have in common? Inner peace, serenity, magnanimity, honoring, gratitude. You will live longer? Yeah. Copy those people. Maintain high energy vibration. The Bible promises that we can live forever. You can take that in a little term. Okay. Those, what does Jesus say? If you know me or something like that, you will never die. You eat normal food, you will die. But you eat the food of Jesus Christ, you will never die. And what did Jesus Christ said? The truth, you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. You can live forever. In the Bible, it says Adam and Eve lived to be 900 years old until they got kicked out of Eden and then they died of natural causes. Humanity has been struggling to find ways to expand the average lifespan. We take medicine, we take nutrients and supplements, and scientists, we've been working on it for years, but we have the answer for it already right in front of us. The truth within ourselves. Whenever undesirable circumstances or people say and do things that we consider undesirable, instead of letting that message go negative, we maintain high vibrational energy frequency, inner peace, maintain that high vibrational energy frequency. That high energy frequency will cause our time to slow down. And at the same time, we create value for other people. We create value for other people, and thereby we accumulate positivity into our being. Okay. Where did I go?
Whatever.
And so live longer. People who commit atrocity, murders, their lifetime is generally not very high. Not only do they experience illnesses, but other people want to kill them. That is the price you pay for committing evils. Okay, but in the operating principle of the conscious mind, when we perform good deed for other people, our energy vibration is high. We accumulate good fortune into our good fortune account. Our time slows down. The value that we create other people goes up. We live longer. That's why people honor those who live long and contribute value to the world. Right? The Oscar have Lifetime Achievement Award given to people who have achieved a lot, created a lot of contribution to the world. Kind of fun, huh? There's a promise of eternal life in this teaching.
I have a funny story related to time, high and low frequency. When I was out in camp working, our company, the company we're contracted for, said if we get a certain amount of production in the day, they would take everybody out for dinner. So everybody produced very hard that day. They went by very fast, and we got the production they wanted, and they took us out for dinner. But the next day, everybody came to work. They were so tired from producing so hard the day before, time went very slow. And everybody, they couldn't wait for the day to be over. And yeah, it was kind of relates to this as far as I see.
That's a wonderful story, Ron. It is because they operated in the realm of the human nature and they did not discover the true nature. When you operate within the human nature, yes, you can go very positive. And as we said earlier, the human nature, very positive, is easy to swing negative. So during the phase of high positivity, yeah, the time goes by really fast, but you get very productive, but it's easy for you to swing backward. Had they understood the true nature, the serenity, which is actually ultra high, then they can still be very productive and maintain that energy of serenity, that inner peace, that's clarity, and then they go sleep. When they go to sleep and the body reaches a state of serenity, all the cells in the body will achieve a state of balance as well. All the cell membrane, the positive and negative charges, electromagnetic charges around all the cells will be balanced. And thereby all the fluid exchange, all the chemical exchange, all the nutrient exchange, all the detoxification would be optimized. And then they would be a lot more rested. That is how our master, Master Tuan, seemed to be able to work 20 hours a day, every day for 10 years. But when we talked to him, he said, I don't work. We think he worked, but he doesn't work. When he's sitting down and talking in Zoom, he's actually taking care of his health. He's taking care of his social health. He's expanding and raising his own energy level, the inner peace level. He's always at peace, and he's creating value, so it deposit credit into his good fortune and merit account. And if needed, he can lie down to rest, put himself in a state of serenity, rebalance himself. Then 5 minutes is equivalent to 2 hours. That is why the sense of time, even though it is very fast, its value, it's as if it's very slow. Instead of saying slow or fast, we're going to say long or short. Okay. Master Tuan, when he lie down to close his eye, he doesn't bother sleeping. It is the state of rest. He can rest for 5 minutes, and it is equivalent to 2 hours of normal people. Morgan knows. And Vince should know too if he's practice meditating a little bit more. With meditation, you can actually enter a state of emptiness, which is our true nature. Okay, and people can meditate instead of sleep. They can actually replace sleep. The Buddha can meditate for 49 days straight. There are people who are known to be able to meditate for years without sleeping, because they can put their body in a state of emptiness and balance, that the body will replenish itself and regenerate itself. And so they would be constantly recharged. And they are not dependent on nutrition, food. They operated on high energy frequency, spiritual energy. Yeah, there is an energy out there. There's a, not out there, but in here everywhere, spiritual energy within the universe itself that we can access only if we can get ourselves to the emptiness of being. Okay. Yeah, great story. Great story about high energy, low energy, values of time. Okay. Okay. What about any of those other people in the Zoom right now? What are your impressions in this discussion about time? What did you get out of it? Mental activation. Vince? Morgan?
Can you repeat?
What do you get out of this discussion so far on vibrational energy, frequency, and time?
The vibration I missed, because I got depressed right now. I'm sorry. I'm in a state of depression right now. So
right now?
Yes.
Okay. That's okay. It's probably a lack of sleep. You're not used to it. Okay. Okay. Just be at peace with it. Okay. If you're feeling depressed, a lot of that is your human nature operating. A lot of positive, negative energy vibrating and getting all chaotic in the human nature, just let it go. Know that you are hearing yourself speak. Know that you're speaking, and just be at peace. Let go. Let go of the depression. Let go of the need to get better. Okay, at this moment in time, there's nothing to do. There's nothing to worry about. Just let go. Can you do that?
Try.
Okay, no problem. I appreciate you giving us, letting us know you're still there. Okay.
Yes,
Just stick with it.
yeah,
Just stick with it.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Vince. Okay, move on. What about you, Jihua? Do you have any, or Morgan, do you have anything that you want to share about time or?
Not at this time. I'm just observing, your lecture and enjoy. But
Okay.
regarding of the depression that Vince mentioned, you give them the path how to release or let go the emotion of depression, whatever the news that make him upset or depressed. If we learn to everything is happen around one is make us upset or sad or down. If we learn how to make it that happen visible or observable, we can be able to let it go. That's coming back to your word that is not gonna get us emotional. This is the way I'm practicing. Is everything is happen because we are human beings, right? And then it's related to the time too. If something happened and then we get the message in trying to be emotional, if we trying to observe the message, emotional is stop. I don't know how to explain. You explain very well. That's why I would rather to be quiet, just listening
That's
to you.
fine.
You
Yeah,
keep
this
keep
part.
doing it. Keep doing
Yeah,
it.
the
I'm
mental
enjoying
activation is about
of your
you.
lecture.
The mental activation is about what you've learned. Okay, you want to share what you have learned, what impresses you, what you find applicable, and if you have any realization. Okay, it is not about it's not about helping another person with advice. Okay, so we are all on our own journey. Okay, we help each other when we can. But the practice of mental activation is about applying the material to your own life, and if you see if you can get any value out of that. It is my way of knowing that the material has been transmitted to you. Yeah, Ji Hua, please go ahead.
Well, I have one question regarding of the timing. You mentioned is a high energy, they give you, long time to live. But it's not only my question, many people, question. If we're gonna believe we're gonna die in our physical body and come back again and again and again, why we should care about, to long live, live longer? Because
Okay.
we already know after, our body, we're going to leave our body, we're going to come back again with a different body, right? Why we have to be serious, to keep, our body longer?
Good question. I can attempt to answer that, but I'm going to let you hold on to that.
Okay. I'm going to find out.
I think it will be to your benefit to keep on inquiring that. Okay. It is the direction of your inquiry that will give you the kind of realization that you want. That is, and that's a good, I think that is a good direction of inquiry. Keep on asking. Okay. I have my own answer, but I think it's, I'll let you ponder it. Because that has a lot more discussion. Well, we may get into it. Your question may be answered with what's coming next. Okay. Sorry, before that, just a real quick one about time, because we have some business people in the room, and you know, I want to share some ideas on the vibrational energy of time. There's a formula with respect to productivity and time. Okay, it is a formula called A to the n power. Okay, in math, here A equal people. Oops. P-E-O, people. N, time. A to the n. If all you have is one person, and that person spends a lot of time, 10 hours, you know, a month, a year, for example, then it's still the work of only one person. Okay, A to the n. One person spending a lot of time doing things will ultimately result in only one person, the amount of work that one person can accomplish. But if you have just, let's say, 10 people, and those 10 people only need to work 10 hours, then already you're gonna get 10 to the 10th power. That's just like 10 zeros, right? And if you have, let's say, 10,000 people, and 10,000 people work to the nth power, then you have nearly infinite. It goes to say that in a business environment, in an organizational environment, if all you have is just one person, it is not an environment. It is not an organization. And so the amount of work that you get done is very little, even if you have an infinite amount of time. But if you have a bunch of people working together with the same energy vibration, with the same goal in mind, same language of speaking, then in a very short amount of time, you can get a lot of things done, a lot of value. That's it. Okay. The idea of time, okay? Even if we're a very high vibrational energy being, and all we have is just ourselves, if this is infinite, okay, even if we have an infinite of time, then the end result is just the work of one person. But if we have a team working together, common goal, common vision, then even in a short amount of time, we can get a lot of things done. Even if they don't have very high energy vibration. Just a little comment on teamwork. Okay? Because I saw that in the slide. I didn't actually study very detailed, but okay, next part.
So Frank, can I say something?
Yeah.
Can you? Okay. So I always curious, and also there one time one of the teacher was sharing about diplomats. They for the embassies, those people represent the countries and go to meetings all over the world.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
And when they get there, they rest just a little bit. This is concerning about time. And they go up there and they do the speech, and like they just are in their own country. yeah, so how do they do it? And I was just, it's just amazing, you know, how they have this perception of time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are not dependent on the clock that we use. They have they have an internal clock, and they can reset the internal clock every time they have a need to lie down and rest. We depend on the wall clock. When it's the time we have to sleep, and if we can't sleep, our inner being, our human nature goes negative. Our judgment, our
Indeed.
desire to sleep on time is not met. So we go displeasure. Okay, our pride is hurt. Okay, our judgment and all that stuff. We go our need for rest, right? Rest and sleep is part of our human needs. And the moment that we don't get our set of rest satisfied, our desire and imagination for rest satisfied, we go negative. And when we go negative, you know, the next day after that sleep is pretty bad. But those people, they don't depend on this, you know, the clock on the wall. They have their own sense of time. To them, lying down for 5 minutes is enough. They get the rest. They get to the state of energy being. Of course, you have to realize, and we're going to talk about next, people like diplomats, high position in society, rich people, powerful people, world leaders, those are the people who carry with them the energy of good fortune. To be able to be born in an environment where you have access to money and power, being diplomat, that's a powerful situation. It is, they already carry with them the energy of good fortune. They already have high energy vibration within them. That is how they can attract money and power. So it is more simple for those people to experience the passage of time in a more favorable way than commoners like us.
Got it. Appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah. The opposite end of the spectrum is somebody who carry a lot of bad energy in them. They are born into poverty. They are born into family that have to work days and night and don't seem to have enough time for family, for self-improvement, then get stuck in that cycle of negative, low energy. And so no matter how much time they have to sleep, it never seems to be enough. Right? They experience depression, they experience anxiety and all of that because the energy state is negative because they have bad fortune. Now we're going to explain, you know, a little bit more why we have good fortune or bad fortune. Okay. So we're going to work on a principle called the operating principle of the subconscious mind. Okay, previously it was the operating principle of the conscious mind. Now it is the operating principle of the subconscious mind. So let's draw a rectangle like that, like so. Okay. And this rectangle represents a garden, the garden of our subconscious. In the garden, there are many seeds. Okay? We plant seed. That's what we've been doing. We've been planting seeds. There are some green looking seeds. Okay. There are some pink looking seeds. And there are some, let's use red, some red looking seeds. This is a garden of our subconscious mind. The green seed represent knowledge. The seed of knowledge. Okay. The pink seed represent affinity with other people. And the red seed represent those seeds that have already bore fruit, which are the outcome in life. So we have the seed of knowledge, the seed of affinity, and the seed that have already bore fruit. And this is a garden of our subconscious mind. The garden of the subconscious mind has a gardener. Okay, has a gardener. This gardener happened to have the name Will. You can call him Mr. Will. Mr. Will, come and water my garden. In the garden of our subconscious, we have the energy. Okay, we have, let's do a different color. Let's see, I like to use, where's purple? Okay, I like purple. Purple represent negative. Okay, let's use red, represent positive energy. And balanced energy is represented by yellow. Okay. So this is how it works. There is a process of cultivation. Yeah. Cultivation. Okay, the process of cultivation involves our hearing, our seeing. You kind of start to see how these tie together. Our saying or speaking, our knowing. Remember those mental images? It also involves our emotions and our mind. Okay. So in this garden of our subconscious, there are different kind of seed. There are so many different kind of seed. But to simplify it, we just group them into 3 distinct groups to make it easy to work with. Okay, simple to work with. There's a group of seed that we call knowledge. Group of seed that we call affinity, and a group of seed that have already bore fruit. Whenever a message comes into our being, right? Remember that? The symbol, the whole picture on the message. Never mind, I'm sure you can remember where it is. Remember it? whenever a message comes in, if we allow that message to take on a positive or negative seed, we charge it. That message comes to our inner being through the process of hearing, seeing, saying, and knowing. It is a process of cultivation. Okay? And it is our emotion and our mind that will determine the positive or negative charge. Okay? Our emotion, our mind, the way we feel, the way we think about something. So when a message comes into our being through our hearing and seeing, we charge it with our emotion and our mind, and it takes on a positive or negative charge. The seed take on a positive or negative charge. If somebody calls us stupid, we charge it with the positive or negative charge, right? We hear it or we see it written in an email or whatever, and we start to say it to ourselves, and it becomes a part of our knowing. And if we give it a positive or negative charge, it is essentially we are cultivating that seed in that direction. So the next time we think about that incident again, what we're doing, we're telling Mr. Will here, remember with the will, Mr. Will has the will to hear, the will to see, the will to speak, and the will to know. Every time we think about that incident again, we cultivate it again. We're essentially telling Mr. Will, can you pour some positive or negative energy into that seed? And after a while, as Mr. Will cultivate the seed is going to grow and it will bear fruit with the same energy that we have cultivated. So when a message comes into our being and we first charge it with a negative energy, it becomes a negative seed. And every time we think about it through hearing, seeing, saying, knowing, every time we charge it with emotion, we're essentially telling Mr. Will, gardener, please pour some negative emotion, negative thought into that message. Through time, that knowledge will bear fruit into a negative knowledge. Negative knowledge are the knowledges that are unfavorable to what we want in life. It goes against our desire. Remember yesterday, the principle when we talk about alignment with desire? Anything that goes against what we want in life is considered negative. Anything that aligns with what we want, aligned with our desire, it's called positive. So from the moment we receive a message, we had already charged that seed with positive or negativity by telling Mr. Will. Through the process of cultivation, through the process of hearing, seeing, saying to ourselves and other people, and the process of knowing, we operate our emotion and our mind, or the mind and emotion operate us, and that seed takes on a charge, positive and negative charge, and that seed will grow up to be a tree. And if we keep on cultivating it, keep on feeding it with negativity every time, then it's going to come out to be a fruit of negativity. We're going to attract negativity with respect to that bit of knowledge. Right? When we come into contact with a person, and let's say our children, and we plant, let's say our children does something, let's say our children, I don't know, take the money from our purse. Okay, the act is the child taking the money from our purse. That is the message. But when we take that message and we charge that knowledge, it is a seed of knowledge, okay? We charge that seed of knowledge in a, let's say, negative way. We think of our child as a thief. The next time we think about a child, we think of this kid as untrustworthy. The next time we think about the child, we become angry. The next time we think about it, we go negative and negative and negative. And eventually, it'll bear fruit. And as a parent, we're going to think of our child as somebody who is undesirable. It started with just one act, taking money from a person. Did somebody want to say something? Okay. On the other hand, let me mute him. I think he's talking to somebody. Okay. Vince, you can unmute when you want to say something, okay? So on the other hand, the child takes money from your purse. And instead of think of it negative, you choose to find some positive way to charge that seed. I don't know, maybe thinking, oh, my child is now mature enough to know how to use money. He is proactive in taking care of his own need. I just need to teach him how to be responsible and, you know, and accurate with money counting. You charge that seed with a positive charge, and every time you think about that incident, you're thinking, you're basically telling Mr. Will, oh, Mr. Will, yeah, this kid, it's gonna grow up to be a successful businessman because he understands the use of money so early in life. Every time we think about it positively, eventually, the mental images, root cause of life, will give rise to a belief system about that child. You're going to believe that child is going to be a successful business person, and you will introduce him to all the possibility it takes to manage money properly. It all begins with the charging of that initial message with a positive or negative energy. And as we charge a knowledge, this is knowledge about another person, what that does is both you plant a knowledge about the incident. If you think about the incident as bad or positive or good, then you know that understanding about the incident, it affects, you basically plant a seed of affinity as well. Your affinity with that other person becomes a negative or positive when you start thinking about them. It may begin with nothing but a simple act of taking money out of the purse, but every time we think about it, we tell Mr. Will to charge it with negative or positive. He goes and he waters the plant, and that seed of affinity will grow up into a tree and it will bear fruit. If we keep on telling Mr. Will to charge and cultivate that tree with positivity, then eventually it will bear fruit in a positive relationship with our children. But if we keep telling that Mr. Will to charge that seed or water that seed and cultivate it with negativity through our hearing, our seeing, our saying, our knowing, manipulated by our mind and our emotion, then it's going to be negative. That child is going to grow up with an affinity that is negative. It is going to be an undesirable relationship with his parent. And so that's a simple explanation within the same parent, within the same lifetime. So let me ask you, have you ever met a person that you've never really met before? You've never really worked before? Never worked with before, you never hung out before, but you meet them at a party or something, and they seem to be really, you get along really easy. it's easy to get along with somebody. Or the opposite, you meet somebody before they haven't really done anything to you, and you haven't done anything to them, but you hate their guts. You just can't stand their presence. Why is that? The only way to explain that phenomenon, yeah, you want to say something, Ron?
It's their energy vibrations that they're giving.
Yeah, the energy vibration is negative with you. It resonates with the negative energy with you. But the question is, why? Well, we haven't interacted with them. Why is it that their energy vibration, in fact, it is the affinity. Let's focus on the seed of affinity, which has to do with our attraction or repulsion with people. Why is it that some people seem to have a positive affinity with us, positive, energy vibration with us, whereas other people have negative energy vibration with us? The only way that we can explain that, and unfortunately science does not allow for that, and the Christianity has a half answer to that, the golden rule, is because in the past we have cultivated negativity with respect to our affinity with that person. Our soul and their soul, in however many lifetime, it could be 10,000 lifetime, who knows? It could be millions of lifetime. How many human lifetime have experienced? And in that process of uncountable lifetimes, we have cultivated negativity, negative affinity with that person. Maybe they did something bad to you, or you did something bad to them. So that first time we meet them in this lifetime, we wouldn't, even though we haven't done anything, it turns out we did, just in the past lifetime, and we don't understand it. And we don't.
What is the key?
Yeah, go ahead.
What is the key? What we can do? If you meet so many people, is not vibration is negative to you, and
There are
it's
some
gonna be
people who are not.
against of you.
So some people are not negative or positive, right?
Mhm.
Then they're just balanced. Okay, because the seed that you plant, the affinity seed with them, doesn't take on negative or positive. Or maybe you haven't met them before. Same with knowledge. The seed of knowledge, when we plant a seed of knowledge and we don't charge it with positive or negative due to our emotion, our mind, then that seed is not going to grow. It won't grow because it doesn't get cultivated. It gets no water from the Mr. Well. It just sits there. It's in our garden, but it never grows, so it never turns into a tree, and it will not bear any kind of fruit. It is only through the process of cultivation, which is charging it with positive or negative energy, that the seed will grow into a tree and start to bear positive or negative fruit. Same with the seed of affinity. When we interact with other people and we cause them to go negative, cause them to suffer, cause them to experience pain, then our affinity with them is going to be negative. Over time, if we keep on repeating it, then our affinity with them will be negative. We carry that energy with us to the next lifetime. Our body will disintegrate, but that energy moves on. And so when we go back to another lifetime and we meet them again, we may not do anything with them in the new lifetime, but we have that negative energy with them. And so we kind of butt head. And vice versa. Sometimes you meet somebody and you fall in love at first sight. I am fortunate to be in that situation. Right? My wife and I, we have a very positive affinity. We only dated a short amount of time. And we feel that we are right for each other. Okay, struck by lightning. And it is not the same, it is not the sort of the teenage hormonal thing. There's a deeper spiritual connection. and we just seem that we are a vibrational match. Because maybe, we don't know that, maybe in a past lifetime, we had a positive affinity. I don't know if it's a romantic relationship or any working relationship, but it is possible. We're just opening it for the possibility of past lifetime. And we allow for that possibility because there are no other good explanation out there. If there are, we would, consider it. You gotta get that? It explains why some people are born in great fortune and other people are born in bad fortune, because that they have both fruit. Whatever they have done in the past lifetimes, many times, it has resulted in negative or positive outcome in this lifetime. So how do you escape from that? Okay, what's the point of this whole discussion? This whole discussion is to actually liberate ourselves from that cycle of suffering, because you could earn a lot of fortune in the past. Past lifetime, we may have done a lot of great things for other people and we enjoy wonderful fortune, but you look around and you see people burn their fortune. Just like that, right? People come in great riches, people enjoy power and fame, but in an instant, they burn their fortune. In fact, let me talk a little bit about the fortune. Let's see. When it comes to fortune, there is a term. Since we're operating on a law of causality, it is a natural law, okay? And it governs everything in life, including our knowledge, our affinity, our outcome in life. The term is total causality. Not just the causality of this lifetime, but whatever fruit that we experience is a result of the total causality of all the lifetimes. If all the past lifetime we have accumulated a lot of positivity, then our total causality is going to be positive. If in our past lifetime we have accumulated a lot of negativity, we cause a lot of suffering for other people, we're going to experience a lot of negativity in this lifetime. And so when it comes to knowledge, affinity, and the fruit, there's the idea of total causal knowledge. The idea of total causal affinity. And the idea of total causal fruit, or say outcome. Okay, knowledge, affinity, and outcome. And at any moment in time, anywhere, our vibrational energy frequency is a direct total outcome, total causal outcome of all the causes in the past, of all the seed of knowledge, or the seed of affinity that have now bore fruit. Total causal outcome, or total causality. If you allow for the law of causality to operate, and if you allow for the explanation why some people experience outcome that seemingly to be out of nowhere. They didn't do anything. The child was born and he didn't do anything wrong. Why do they have some congenital defect? Or why some child is born to great riches, great health, great families, great power, because they are energy vibrational match with it. But why are they energy vibrational match with it? It is because of their total cultivation or conditioning. Right? It is the condition. We can plant the seed, but the seed does not grow until it has a condition, in the appropriate condition. And in this case, the conditioning is a process of cultivation. The conditioning or the cultivation through hearing, seeing, saying, and knowing via the emotion and the mind that will determine a person's fortune and outcome in life. And because when our body dies, we don't have a brain anymore, we cannot retain memory. When we come back, we will come back only as a energy vibration. We don't remember anything, but we still carry that positive or negative energy charge. That's all it is, a negative or positive energy charge. And that negative or positive energy charge, as it accumulates in the forms of matter and physical body and cells, and it gives rise to a body that is either healthy or sick, that is happy or sad, that is born in great environmental fortune or poverty, for example. And it satisfies the Christian statement on Judgment Day, every hair on your head will be counted for. It is a statement on total causality. That which you sow, so shall you reap. It is a statement on total causality. And the Catholic half believes in it. They didn't just know they believe in it. With the Catholic, there is the idea of purgatory, right? Purgatory. You guys familiar with that, purgatory? Anybody here understand what purgatory is? It's not heaven or hell. Heaven is supposed to be the ultimate bliss that we always want to get to. Hell is the ultimate damnation and suffering that we do not want to get to. Okay, that is permanent. Hell is permanent state of condemnation. Heaven is a permanent state of eternal bliss. But there's this middle part called purgatory. According to the Catholic teaching, purgatory is a place where we pay for our sins and we cultivate ourselves so that we can become better and more worthy of going up. We cleanse our sins and we cultivate ourselves to become better and more worthy of heaven, to go up. And guess what? What place gives you suffering and pain? What place gives you the opportunity to cultivate ourselves? Is it not this lifetime? And if we don't succeed, guess what? We get to do it again. Until we pay for all of our sin, until we cultivate ourselves so that we become worthy of going up. So how do we pay for all of our sin? In the Bible, there is a story of the two criminals that was crucified with Jesus. Okay, when Jesus was crucified, there were two criminals. One criminal refused to accept responsibility for his total causal outcome. He refused the punishment. He challenged God. He said, if you're God and you can erase all the sins of the world and you can save us too. Why don't you get off the cross and save us? One criminal refused to accept the total outcome. The other criminal, on the other hand, the right-hand side of Jesus, said, whoa, you stop. You and I, we deserve this. We deserve this punishment. And so he asked Jesus to take him to heaven. And Jesus said, today, you will be with me in heaven. What does that mean? Well, the criminal on the right was able to access the root cause formula. Root cause of life begin with me. He take responsibility for all of his sin, take responsibility for all of his negativity, his negative total causal outcome. And in that moment, he already received the total outcome, punishment by death. And the moment that he received the punishment, which is a fruit, right? All the bad things that we've done, we planted and it grows up to be a tree, it'll bear fruit. The fruit is positive or negative. His fruit is a negative outcome. He's going to be punished to death. He's going to be punished by death on the cross. At that moment, he welcomely received the fruit. Welcome reception. He welcomely received the fruit, which is the punishment of his crime. He eats the fruit, and then it's done. Causality ends right there. That's the beauty of the operating principle of the subconscious mind, is the moment that you welcomely receive the fruit, your causality ends. And it only ends if you start cultivating it. It only ends if you start telling Mr. Will to think positive or negative about it. He completely receives the fruit of his, his outcome, no longer resentful, no longer avoiding the consequence. And so that means he's no longer planting any new seed. No more evil seed, no more good seed. All of his punishment has been met. And so he is ready to be received into heaven. Well, guess what? The Buddhist does the same thing. By operating the operating principle of the subconscious mind, one, you recognize, you learn to stop cultivating those seeds. Get to the truth of your being, get to the state of emptiness. And so whatever message that comes into our being, we don't charge it with a positive or negative seed. And because we don't charge it with positive or negative seed, it does not bear fruit. In the garden, there's still fruit that have been born as a consequence of past action. What do we do about that? We welcomely receive that too. Once all the seed have bore fruit and we have welcomely received all the fruit, even if it is undesirable, then your garden has nothing left. Once you eat the fruit, you don't continue to cultivate the tree anymore with positive or negative energy, then the tree not going to have any more fruit. And when your garden, number one, you don't plant new seed, or you plant seed, but you don't charge it with a negative or positive, so there's no more tree. You've eaten all the fruit. Your garden is now empty. You experience ultimate release. In Buddhism, it's called nirvana. Christianity is heaven. Heaven is a state of being, eternal peace. But we can only achieve eternal peace when we stop charging the information or the message that comes into our being with positive or negativity. And when we learn to be at peace with the outcome that we already have. Total causal outcome. It could be negative fruit. It could be positive fruit. If it is a positive fruit, good fortune, good, good fortune, good health, and all that stuff, and we enjoy it. It's fine that we enjoy it, but if we're attached to it, then we're still planting trees. Next lifetime, we will continue to enjoy good fortune, but we won't go up. We'll just be stuck in a very nice garden. And there are many people in this world experiencing life like almost like the Garden of Eden. Right? Great fortune, great health, great relationship, dynasties of family who exist a very long time. They enjoy many great positivity because they have been cultivating positivity, but they won't go up. They just be in a nice garden from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime. If you want to go up, and there are different choices, we can cultivate positivity so that our next life will be better for our children, for our children's children. And at the same time, we need to learn how to clear the garden so that we can be free from it. And the only way to do that is to stop cultivating positive and negativity in our seed of knowledge and our seed of affinity. When there's nothing left in our total causality, then we are going to be free. That's why Jesus said, you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. And the truth is very simple. We know that we are always already hearing, always already seeing. Right? In the Hindu word for that, or Pali word for that is karma. Total causality is karma. But instead of using a foreign word, just going to use total causality, total causal knowledge, total causal affinity, and total causal outcome or the fruit. Okay, so in our human construct, there is ran out of space. Ran out of space. So where can I write this down? So we're gonna say total causality, okay, which include knowledge, in the discussion on wisdom, we will learn why some people can acquire knowledge that they have not learned in this lifetime. Look at Leonardo da Vinci. He seemed to have knowledge that is way surpassed his own personal capacity. Even scientists like Einstein and Tesla, Nikola Tesla, people who have access to wonderful knowledge and ideas that transcend humanity, and they seem to blow people's mind away. And so we consider the possibility that they have already cultivated those knowledge in past lifetime, and they seem to unlock it in this lifetime. Total causality includes our knowledge, affinity, and our fruit. That is why it explains why we encounter some people and we experience a positive or negative affinity with them even before we have a deepened relationship with them. This is why we carry a positive or negative charge with respect to other people. It is a discussion on vibrational energy frequency. Another way of looking at total causality is imagine a lake, got water. Every time we think, or every time we act, we toss a pebble into the lake. Right? As we toss a pebble into the lake spreads out in the form of a wave. Right? That wave of causality interact with other people. it will, if it interact with a person, it'll bounce back with the exact same vibrational energy frequency. In a lake with billions and billions of people, every act, every word that we say will spread out, bounce against different people, bounce in many different complicated ways, but eventually it will bounce back. If we act and say with a lot of negativity toward other people, then when it bounced against other people, it'll bounce back in terms of negativity. That is total causality. Some waves can bounce with one person and then bounce off another person, bounce off another person all the way to the edge of the lake. And it can take a long time to reach back to you. And so we experience circumstances, could be not negative or positive, that's seemingly out of our control. We win the lottery. Or we get into a car accident. We didn't do we just sitting at the traffic light and somebody smashed us from behind. It wasn't our fault. We didn't do anything. Well, maybe it is our fault, but maybe not. From the root cause formula, root cause of life begins with me. It is my choice to be in that traffic at that moment in time. But from the total causality perspective, the religious and spiritual perspective, it is my affinity with that other driver. I may have done something to him or her in the past lifetime. That wave of causality spread out, however many lifetimes. And by the time this lifetime occur, it smashed us in the back of the car just while we're sitting in traffic. If we didn't know it, if we didn't understand causality, we would blame the other person. We would hire a lawyer, we would fight to get compensation for the other person smashing us in the back while we're at the traffic light. But if we do that, then we have cultivated the seed of affinity in a negative way. We have told Mr. Will to pour some negative energy. We continue to perpetuate the negativity in terms of our affinity with other person. It's not going to get better. We may win the court case. We get money compensation, but we're going to cause that person to hate us. We cause them to go negative, both financially and emotionally and mentally. And so what we have done is we have just made the seed grown bigger. And it'll come back again with another fruit. And that is why human beings suffer. We continue to suffer, and we try to fix the fruit, but we can't fix the fruit. We have to work on the seed. We can either choose to cultivate with positivity if we want a better life in this lifetime and the next, or if we've had enough, we want to leave. We want to go up. We want to leave the garden, and the only way to do that is to achieve a state of balanced energy, where we no longer charge the knowledge and the affinity seed with any positive or negative energy. We experience inner peace, even in this lifetime before, death. That requires the energy of intellectual merit. It requires wisdom energy. Wisdom level 3. We talk about wisdom level 3. Question, impression before we go to lunch.
A lot of questions, Frank.
Yeah.
But
No questions. Go ahead.
no question.
No question?
No question. I have a lot of questions, but it's not gonna fit in this time. You just keep
Okay.
going. No question. It's
Okay.
very interesting.
Any impression at all?
Impression is mean you're talking about a balance. You just say just leave it alone and go make it balance. your positive and negative, which is, I agree with you.
Okay.
We cannot do anything else.
Yeah. Great.
Is there any other option do we have?
Yeah, good question. Yeah. Do we have any other option? If there's a better option, let me know. Are there
Yeah.
any, if there are better option to experience life of positivity, or any better option of going up and being released from this purgatory or this life, let me know.
Mhm.
It seems that at this point, this is the best we have. Okay, and we work with
Yeah.
what Christianity and Buddhism give us those two choices. It's very similar. Okay. Let's take a lunch.
What?
So before lunch, just real quick. Right, so we kind of mentioned this earlier, but now that we understand total causality, okay, before we are able to operate the operating principles of the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, oftentimes we feel that we are helpless. Things happen outside of our control. COVID, the fire, earthquake, accidents, illnesses, relationship seem to happen outside of our control, and we just chalk it up to fate, or we chalk it up to our genetics, bad gene. Right, fate and bad gene. So before we understand, we had predetermined fate. We can't fix it. It seemed to be that way. But now that we have understand causality, we're still dependent on fate. But what we have is total causal, I'm going to call it destiny. We can change our destiny. We can change our fate starting from this moment on. Okay, we can change the way we think about other people. We can change whether or not we charge a thought or an affinity with other person in negative or positive. We can choose if we want our life to continue to be more positive and more greater fortune, or we can choose to go the balance, ultra high energy, and be released. And forgot important before we take a break. Sorry. Because earlier on I mentioned why some people burn their fortune. I do need to mention that these few things that will burn your fortune. I say that. Okay. So a person will accumulate good fortune, right, over the lifetime, over many lifetimes, and that will result in positive or negative outcome in life. A fortune is like a mountain of money. Very simple to accumulate. All you got to do is perform good deed. You're going to deposit a good seed in your positive fortune account, and you're going to attract positivity. But good fortune is like mountain of paper money. It could also be burnt very simple with a single match. The matches that burn our good fortune is resentment, and blame. a person could become very successful financially, famous, and all that stuff. But the moment they start to blame other people, the moment they start to resent other people, then somehow the fortune will go away very fast. Why do you see celebrity becoming famous, and then overnight they would say something that blame and they express their resentment, and instantly society would burn them back. They would lose all the fortune. Another match that would burn our good fortune is arrogance. Some people are born with a great ability to become very successful. They acquire money, they acquire fame, they acquire power. They rise to great height. But you also notice that the moment that they start becoming arrogant and conceited and egotistical, they will also burn that fortune. Other people will find a way to overthrow them, take away the money, take away the position or the status. Celebrity do that all the time. Politicians do that all the time. Another match that will burn your fortune is delusional wrath. When you see a leader rave and rant his own or her frustration and anger towards some topic, he will burn his fortune very quickly. People will find ways to remove him from power. Okay? Adultery is a quick way to burn your fortune. Adultery is a cultural specific thing. Not, some culture allow a man to have multiple women. Some culture, like an American culture, Vietnamese culture, say you can only be monogamous, one man, one wife, one husband, one wife. Okay, so it is a cultural specific. But when you get caught in adultery, yeah, you tend to lose your fortune, right? People will blackmail a celebrity or a politician using adultery. They would lose the fortune in terms of fame and power. Another way to destroy your fortune is the abstinence. Abstinence. Okay. You may gain a lot of wisdom. You may gain a lot of understanding. You get PhDs. You become Nobel Prize winner. But the moment you start to get attached to your own views and you don't open yourself for other people's views, then your wisdom gets covered up. Wisdom, unlike the fortune, wisdom, the merit wisdom, is like a mountain of gold. Hard to burn, but very simple to get dirty and covered up by dirt. Obstinate would cover up your wisdom, and that will eventually cause you to go delusional. You lose the clarity and you become delusional, and you will lose your fortune. So a simple way to protect yourself against these matches that burn your fortune is to initiate or activate the following energy. To prevent yourself from resentment and blame, activate honoring gratitude. Okay, if you are grateful for everybody and everything, and you honor your existence and other people's existence, then you won't blame them. You protect yourself against destroying your fortune through resentment and blame. To protect yourself against arrogance, just initiate the character of humility or humbleness. Okay. Oh, yeah. To protect yourself against delusional wrath, anger, okay, extreme anger, you want to initiate the energy of magnanimity. Be tolerant, be accepting with respect to other people and yourself. To protect yourself against all adultery, learn the moral code of your society, okay? So stick to moral correctness. And when it comes to wisdom, to prevent your wisdom from going dull, you need to get to wisdom level 3. We'll talk about that later. To get to wisdom level 3, you can help other people discover the truth within themselves, the truth that will set them free, the emptiness of their being, and thereby you can prevent yourself from going negative with respects to the open mind and the judgment, and we remain wise. And then with wisdom, we can go up. With clarity, we understand the right thing to do, and we can go up. Okay, that is a spiritual and religious take on the human concept. Let's take a lunch. 1 hour, okay? Yeah, okay. It is now, let's do an hour, 10 minutes to make it 1 o'clock. We'll come back at 1. Come back at 1.